Why is the story of Mesivta 404 a kind of high impact story in the bigger picture of Jewish education? I think that out in the world, the landscape of yeshiva high schools, Mesivtas, yeshivas, we're out there asking ourselves all similar questions. How do we take a modern day American Jewish student, Orthodox Jewish student, and really provide an environment, a warm, respectful, collaborative environment for them in which they actually see themselves as their own teacher. At the point when a child is 16 or 17 years old, you as an adult cannot make them do anything. You might wish you could, you might think you could, but you really can't. And at that point, there is no amount of negative consequences or punishments that you could possibly do that will get them to come aboard with you. At that point, you hopefully have either inspired them enough in their growing up years to go off and do the right thing, to be guided by a moral compass, or maybe not. And if not, it's not over. There's an opportunity for you through a very long series of small experiences to help that person feel that there's something to connect to, whether that be God, the Jewish people, Torah, and that part of Jewish education is really everything. We're not forming private schools for Jewish kids in the world right now. We need to be forming Jewish schools for Jewish kids. And Jewish schools for Jewish kids are a lot about meaning and values as much as they are about academic success. And there's no room for failure, because failure in that sense is student leaves and never comes back to Torah. Student leaves and is an emotionally or socially unhealthy person. We tell a story in our younger grades, which I recently told the boys when we were planning out our token economy system to kind of reward them for being on time. And the story is, we ask the boys, what is a wild horse like to do? And they say, like, run and bite and kick and, be powerful and fight. And then we say, what does a wild horse trainer want a horse to do? And they say, a purpose, like pull a cart or put somebody on his back and go a particular place. And we say to them, Chassidus teaches us that we have both a wild horse and a wild horse trainer inside of us. And when you're little, the adults in your life are the ones who are playing that role of being the wild horse trainer. But there's a certain time when you have to take that job into your own hands, and you have to realize that you have a whole future the rest of your life where you have to make a decision of whether or not the wild horse or the wild horse trainer is going to be the one, running the show, being the decision maker. And by high school already, students have to be in that wild horse trainer mode. They have to be the ones who are learning, how do I shape my own personal environment for learning? How do I become successful? What are my talents in this world? What do I have to contribute? Where do I fit in? Do I do things just because people are looking at me to see whether or not I'm doing the right thing or not? Do I do things just because I'm motivated by some reward I'm gonna get? Am I deceitful sometimes to adults because I think they want me to be something that I'm not? All of those things have to be part of high school education. If we only continue thinking about the brain of the kid and not so much about the neshama, the meaning part of the kid, or the social, emotional, healthy part of the kid, we miss the boat. And so in that process of being the adults who are there to kind of shift those reins from wild horse trainer onto student being in charge of himself or herself, there's a fear. There's a fear we have as adults that when we let up some control, it's going to cause the student to fail or drop. And that could be the case. But what's the reward on the other side? We actually see who the child really is. We could actually respect the child enough to let he or she actually become who he's meant to be.